Hey everybody, welcome to Total Packers with Matt LaFleur, Larry McCarren along with the head coach of the Green Bay Packers. And Matt, a 5-game losing streak. I think the fans and the media want you to do something dramatic. Is there anything dramatic you can do?
Play better. We have to play better. We've got to coach better. I think the last couple weeks of practice have been better, and that's why it's disappointing we're not getting the results we want. And I still think there's things that we can do within just our process, how we practice, that can go up a notch and hopefully lead to better results.
Matt, against the Lions, you had chances inside the 20, inside the 10, but came away empty. What was the problem there?
Well, we turned the ball over 3 times inside the 20, and when you do that, you're probably not going to win the game. We were -2 for the game in the turnover department, so that's one thing that we've always stressed to our team, and typically we've been on the other side of those. And like I said, to be -2, you're not going to win many of those opportunities.
The play designed for David Bakhtiari, it was there, the execution wasn't.
No, I think we could have done a lot better of a job up front. There was a little leakage in Aaron's face, and I think he would like to get a little bit more on that ball, obviously. But, credit to Detroit. Hutchinson peeled back, made a good play on the ball.
Matt, Aaron Rodgers playing some un-Aaron Rodgers-like football. Are you concerned at all?
No, I think collectively, everybody around him, everybody needs to play better. I think there's throws when you come out of every game. There's always going to be a throw here or there that you'd like to have back. Very rarely do you play the perfect game at any position, but obviously there's a lot put on the quarterback position, and many times when you win, you get too much credit, and same with when you lose.
9 points against a defense that's been bad this season, let's face it. How many times does it boil down to somebody just make a play?
Yeah, I think a lot of times it boils down to that. But I think as coaches, you got to look at yourself and see who you're putting in those situations to make those plays. And we got to do a better job. We got to do a better job of whether it's scheming guys open in the pass game or running the football. When you get down there, and like I said, give credit to Detroit. They did a good job. When we got inside the 5-yard line, they put basically their goal line defense, and it really didn't matter what personnel grouping we were in. And unfortunately, we didn't have many answers in the run game.
Matt, is the what's become constant, shuffling up front, has that taken its toll at all?
I think it's presented some challenges, of course. Certainly, you'd like that continuity game in and game out, and we haven't really gotten that very much. But that's never an excuse. You got to find a way around that. Injuries are a part of football, and I love the fact that when we do put somebody else in, guys like Zach Tom have been ready to play. So again, it doesn't make it any easier, but we'll never use that as an excuse or a crutch.
It would take the whole show to list all your injuries. How do you approach that fact with your football team?
Yeah, it's just one of those unfortunate things. Certainly feel for the guys that got banged up. Losing a guy for the season like Rashawn Gary is not easy to do. He brings so much to this football team from a competitive standpoint, just his energy. Certainly he's as disruptive as anybody in the National Football League, and he's going to be a tough guy to replace. But collectively, we need everybody to step up and raise their game a notch.
Always at the root of everything is attitude and effort. Are you seeing what you want to see from your football team in that regard?
Yeah, I think so. I think the guys are staying together, and that's the most important thing right now is, you win together, you lose together, and we can all be miserable together, but we got to stay together. And, that's not something that I'm overly concerned about, but certainly that urgency is there to get this corrected because nobody likes where we're at right now.
This week, the Cowboys come to town, and how will you handle the Mike McCarthy returning to Green Bay dynamic? I'm pretty sure you have no bones to pick with Mike, but I can assure you he's got a big bone to pick with the Green Bay Packers. How will you handle that whole thing?
Well, I think it's more about the Green Bay Packers versus the Dallas Cowboys, and certainly Coach McCarthy is a guy that we have a tremendous amount of respect for. He's done a lot for this organization, for the community, and I think he should be well received by our fans.
Thank you, Matt. Coming up, Jaire Alexander, don't go away.
Goff in the pocket, wings it over the left side, intercepted. Jaire Alexander on the interception.
Total Packers with Matt LaFleur is brought to you by your local Chevy dealers, by Bellin Health, and by Johnsonville. Welcome back. This one-on-one is brought to you by Quick Trip and Guaranteed Fuel. Ja, you guys held the Lions to 15 points. How would you assess the overall performance of the defense as a whole?
Man, I think the defense came out and played well. As we played, there's always like 3 or 4 plays we want back. Honestly, it's always a bittersweet feeling, to go out there and perform and do your best and to not get that victory, man. It's always tough. We missed maybe about 3 or 4 interception opportunities, and that stuff's up big in games like that, where we can turn the game around. But, those guys came to play. It was a physical game, and we knew it from the start. And they came out and played physical.
Tell me about your interception against the Lions. It looked like you were playing zone and you played it to perfection.
I had my man all the way on a skinny post.
Goff wings it over the left side, intercepted. Jaire Alexander.
And then for some reason I seen a receiver coming across the field, and boom! And then after that it turned into a punt return. It felt like I was back in Louisville. I cut across the field. I was hoping to get maybe one little block, and I might have could have took the thing all the way.
The week before, you intercepted Josh Allen, diving interception, and then you ran the ball to the end zone and gave it to a Packer fan. Now, was that Packer fan just in the right place at the right time? How did that come about?
Oh man, it was crazy because, after I got the pick, I got up and I got the ball because I was so mad he threw it at my receiver like that. So I was getting ready to punt it in the stands. I was getting ready to kick the ball. The next thing you know, I just seen a little smiling face, man, and I just ran and gave him the ball. It's no such thing as coincidences.
You missed the better part of 2 games, and yet you have 3 picks and 9 passes broken up so far. How do you feel about things? How are they going individually?
The aliens are working for me, as I like to say. But, hey, it's not just me, it's a team effort. It starts in the week in practice, and the guys that I go against, making me be my best so I can perform just like where I am. I never get complacent. I have this internal drive that gets me to where I need to be and where I want to be in this game of football because I care about it so much. Trust me, this is only the tipping stone for what's to come.
Snap fields, he throws deep down the right side. Intercepted! Alexander, an athletic interception.
Early in the season, you guys had problems with deep crosses, guys just coming free. It looks like you fixed that problem. What was the process like in getting it fixed?
With the way our secondary is and how interchangeable guys are, you can't just line up and run regular routes against us because it's not going to work. So what they would do is run away from our leverage, which is the hardest thing to cover because you got 53 yards, going sideways. So we're covering a receiver who's running away from our leverage. So now with the kind of scheme that we've had set up, we're able to see the quarterback. We're able to have more vision towards where the routes are going instead of just staying on our man and running with him the whole way. With Sewell out there, I know that, he understands how to pass off deeper routes and over routes. He's a savvy veteran. And, with Keyshawn, he's always ready to step in the game when his time is called. We're just going to continue to build that chemistry with each other. It's still nothing changed. We're still the best secondary in the league.
Ja, you guys are 3-6, no question about it. Tough times. What's going to drive you the rest of the way?
Being the best. My drive was being the best. Being the best at whatever I did, being the best at whatever I do. going forward, you know, we just have to stay together as a team and take it one game at a time.
Welcome back. This week's Chalk Talk is brought to you by Network Health. At Network Health, we do what's right, even when it's not easy. It's who we are. Health insurance is what we do. Don't know what to tell you, but the foundational stuff, the stuff this offense was built on, still works. Stuff like play action passes, where you fake a play, you actually run. And that's what we're looking at right here. The Packers have a running play they call duo. Double team here, double team there, duo. And this action is having its desired effect on the underneath coverage. They're all playing run. Same play, different angle, and let's focus on Allen Lazard. Always involved in the running game because he's an excellent blocker. And right here, it looks like he's stalking this defender like he's getting ready to block him. Now, that action causes number one, Jeff Okudah, the guy covering Allen, to hesitate just a moment. And that's all Allen needs. He gets that critical step, great throw, great catch, touchdown Packers. Same play, different angle again, and this time, let's focus in on this guy. 38 years old, and he knows he's going to get hit. He can sense it, he can feel it, he can see it, and yet he holds that football to the last possible moment before taking one for the team and delivers a perfect strike, no less. This stuff still works.
Still a lot of season left, a lot of games can still be played, and not really sure what the playoff picture will look like from here on out, but you know, playing for this organization, there's still a lot of pride and respect that we have that we got to uphold.
Total Packers with Matt LaFleur is brought to you by Network Health, by your Wisconsin Toyota dealers, and by Spectrum One. Total Packers with Matt LaFleur is brought to you by Fabic Cat, proud sponsor of the Green Bay Packers. Welcome back, and time for a new segment we're going to call Potpourri because it's stuff we have not had a chance to talk about. And you mentioned Rashawn Gary earlier, Matt. After the game, I stumbled into you consoling him. You must have found out the severity of his injury. And I think people got to understand with the injury stuff that it's not robots out there. These are human beings, and it affects them.
Yeah, no, it's tough. There's a lot of effort that have gone into this by these guys throughout, not just the season. It's the off season. It's 365, and there's a lot of sacrifice. And anytime a guy has a setback like that, you can't help but feel for him. And that was definitely a tough moment. I feel for him because I know how invested he is, not only in everything he does, but this team. And for him to not be a part of it, it's just we're going to be missing a big piece.
Matt, Kingsley Enagbare has been coming on as of late, and with Rashawn's injury, That's really got to continue, right?
Absolutely. I think he's done a great job. He gives great effort every time he goes out on the field, and I think you see him kind of growing throughout the course of the week in practice and game by game. So he's a guy that we're excited about, and he's going to get more of an opportunity now.
Thank you, Matt. Coming up, the last word from the coach. Stay with us.
We're here in Wausau at the K9 facility. It's where they turn their dogs into service dogs pretty much for veterans, and for me that's huge. My parents are veterans, and just seeing the everyday struggles that veterans go through and how these dogs can help them, and they're always there for you, helping you.
Patriot Canine's Wisconsin mission is to provide psychiatric service dog for disabled veterans suffering from post-traumatic stress injury, traumatic brain injury, military sexual trauma. And our underlying mission is to prevent veteran suicide. I see a lot of sad people come in. Usually when they come to this program, they're at the end of the road. They've tried medication, counseling, PTSD programs. They've tried everything, and they're pretty disheartened people. But when they graduate, they smile. And that's the thing for me.
My mom is actually about to get a dog, and so some of the questions I was asking was for her. She wants to make her dog into a service dog, so I learned a lot today, and it was very helpful, and I'm looking forward to just learning that much more about it. And you know, it helps veterans out a lot. My mom's a former veteran, and you know, sometimes she's by herself, so that just having that dog there with you who knows you, kind of like your kids do, it goes a long way.
We're a small organization, our voice is small, but this is really making us known. And also, I believe it's letting people know what veterans' issues are. I mean, that's such a huge thing to me. More than anything is just the public understanding that our veterans do need help, and there are some that are suffering out there. And veteran suicide is a huge issue, especially in Wisconsin.
It was important for me because it's kind of what raised me, the military. You know, I grew up in a military household, both my parents being military, lived on base all the way up until I went to college, so I just feel like I learned so much from the Army. It's kind of shaped me into who I am, even though I didn't serve. So it was an honor for me to be able to represent the Packers and salute the service.
The Packers and Fleet Farm encourage fans to support our heroes during Salute to Service Month. Purchase a military-themed bandana at the Packers Pro Shop during November, and $5 goes to Patriot Canines of Wisconsin. The Last Word with Matt LaFleur is brought to you by Construction Business Group and Wisconsin Operating Engineers. Welcome back. Time for the last word from the coach. And Matt, Dallas is 6-2, and it always seems like the Cowboys have star power, but this year they also have depth to go along with it.
They sure do. They've got players at every level on really in all three phases. And knowing Dan Quinn, their defensive coordinator, very well, worked for him for 2 years in Atlanta. I think he's really got the defense playing at a really high level. Obviously, guys like Micah Parsons, yeah, he's done pretty well. Offensively, Kellen Moore's done a great job. I got a lot of respect for Dak Prescott. They've got excellent running backs, great receivers. And then in the kicking game, John Fossil's a guy that I worked with in LA with the Rams, and he's a guy that always presents a lot of challenges, and they love to send fakes your way and pressure you, and so it's going to be a great challenge for our football team.
Thank you, Matt. Good luck against the Cowboys, and thank you for watching. Until next time, take care.